on Zoom, you need to keep your video on, but keep your Zoom panel on mute. Thank you. Faith Moves, Moves. I don't know whether that's a correct last name, but she's disappeared from Zoom. Okay. So I have position 15 who's going to speak with Ms. Helen. And then I have position number 1, Ms. Booker, who's present in the courtroom. And she's going to speak with, we're waiting on her attorney to appear. Position 2, Derek Davis is going to speak with Mr. Haddad.
Thank you, Judge.
Is there anybody else on Zoom, Mr. Glanville, in the waiting room? All right, anyone else in the courtroom who's not been addressed?
Faith Moves just joined back, Your Honor.
All right, Faith Moves, please start your video. Could you prompt her to start a video and unmute, Mr. Glanville?
Good morning, Your Honor. I was on scene with my son, and I'm traveling to my video, but I was just
I have no idea what you are saying. So first of all, on your Zoom thing, you have to remove the background picture, remove the filter. So there we go.
Okay. I was saying your.
All right. Nope, you froze up. We have no idea what you are
In
saying.
2 different places. Can you hear me?
What's your last name?
Nelson, ma'am. I was with Quarez, my son.
Oh, I
Two
see.
different places. I'm sorry.
All right. You're not a defendant, so go ahead and mute yourself, please. And
Yes.
And actually remove that filter from your video too.
I'm gonna X off and do it from another. I don't know how, so I'm gonna have to do it from another device.
Okay.
That doesn't have it.
Sounds
Thank you,
good.
ma'am.
You're free to go.
Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. While we are waiting, Mr. Haddad, if you want to speak to Mr. Davis, and Miss Helen, if you want to speak to Mr. Eduardo.
Forrest, I sent you in the chat a request for your phone number. If you could chat me back so I can give you a call.
Okay. And then Mr. Eduardo Santos Vega is in the courtroom also. He would like to speak to the PD. So that's position number 17. All right. Going back to our jury trial calendar from this past Tuesday, we are calling State versus Jasmine Renee Myers, represented by attorney Robert Kenner, 21 CR 000-758C. All right, this case was reset from yesterday to take a plea in absentia. Mr. Kenner, if you'd like to take the podium, please. That way you'll be on the microphone and we can. Mr. Vegas, please have a seat. One of the attorneys will come and speak with you. And Sherry, this case is Jasmine, Jasmin, middle initial R, last name Myers, Myers, 21 CR 000-758C. It's from a jury trial calendar that began on Tuesday, this past Tuesday.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Yes, Mr. Oh, we have paper. Good. Thank you. All right, with regards to Ms. Myers, counsel, your client has waived her appearance and has submitted a documented plea in absentia. Would that be correct, sir?
That is correct.
All right. Then, Mr. Birch, what charges are we proceeding on with regards to Ms. Myers?
Thank you,
Go ahead.
thank you, Your Honor. Yes, as a part of the negotiated plea, we have agreed that the defense will plead guilty to the failure to obey signs as well as the distracted driving wireless in exchange for a no pros on the DUI and the reckless driving. The conditions will be as follow: for failure to obey signs, that'll be a $300 fine. And for the distracted driving wireless, that actually will be a $100 fine because this is her second offense. Ms. Myers pled guilty to a distracted driving wireless charge in Atlanta Municipal Court on September 26, 2019. I do understand that it's the defense's intent to ask for a NOLO, and the state would object to the NOLO on the basis of her driver's history. This incident occurred on November 15th, 2019. And she actually had that wireless ticket September 26, 2019. And then she had a speeding ticket going 61 and a 35 on October 26, 2019, that she pled guilty to. And she also, which was about 2 weeks before this case occurred. And then she also had another speeding ticket 2 weeks after this case occurred on November 29th, 2019. And so the state would object to the NOLO.
Mr. Kenner?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm not familiar with whether she, because I have not seen her criminal history, so I don't know whether she actually pled guilty. I know that she pled guilty to the 2019 wireless charge because I asked her about that. But in terms of the speeding ticket, I have not seen that, so I can't confirm that. But yes, I am asking the court to allow my client to enter a NOLO plea on this case.
All right. And has you or your client obtained a motor vehicle record from the relevant Department of Driver Services prior to
I
this hearing?
just learned just this morning. I have not.
Okay, so that is really on the defendant and defense counsel for failure to obtain the requisite MVR. The request for a NOLO plea is denied.
I understand.
Anything else to add, Mr. Kenner?
No.
All right. The court will accept the plea as negotiated and will accept the plea in absentia based on the sworn affidavit submitted by the defendant. The DUI charge and the reckless driving will be null pros by the state, and the court will accept the guilty plea to the charge of failure to obey traffic signs with a fine of $300, and the guilty plea to a distracted driving violation of the Georgia hands-free law, as this is her second offense, and the court imposes a $100 fine. Mr. Kenner, your client has until the following Friday, which will be May 31st, to pay the fine in lieu of probation. Would that be possible?
Yes.
All right. So the fine has to be paid to the Traffic Violation Bureau, which is, I want to say it's in Building J1 on the first floor.
Traffic Violation Bureau?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the counter where you pay your traffic tickets.
Yes.
So you go to Suite J135, get the disposition, then they will direct you where to pay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, that concludes the case. Thank you
Your
so
Honor,
much.
I just want to get a copy of the order from the court if I can, so I can get.
Certainly. Mhm.
I'm about to send it right now to Ms. Harden.
All right. Ms. Harden, this is the plea in absentia. This is the plea paperwork and then the disposition. All right. Now, we're going to start clean on these cases. Any on the arraignment calendar, ORCA arraignment calendar? Oh, are you Ms. Muehlman?
No, good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Deidre Stokes on behalf of
Stokes.
Judge Bernice Booker.
Okay. Your attorney's name is Stokes. Okay. That's where I got the Muehlman from. Okay, sorry about that. All right, and how are we proceeding with Ms. Booker?
Well, I'd like to speak with the prosecutor. I've been in
Certainly.
communication. I don't.
Okay, so,
I can speak with her in just one moment.
now, is there anyone else who's appeared in court that wasn't here at calendar call? Okay. While we are waiting, position 3 and 4, Alicia Frazier and Melissa Gambino. Mr. Glanville, do you have anyone in the waiting room?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Miss Helen, you have Mr. Nelson's number to speak with him?
I do, Judge.
All right, so you're gonna hold it, okay. So right now I have not present on Frazier and Gambino. Position 5, Henson has filed a waiver of arraignment, so that case is going to be further notice for trial. Position 6,
I'm sorry, can you go back? Which one did you just announce? I'm sorry.
Ukiya Henson.
Okay.
Position 5.
To what date?
I don't have a date right now. This is most likely going to go back to the division judge.
Okay.
Okay. Position 6, Ikira Hicks.
Your Honor, Ms. Armstrong is with our office. This is an old public, well, I shouldn't say old. It's a 23 CR. I've not had any contact with Ms. Hicks. So
All
this
right,
is-
she failed to appear for Judge Taylor's jury trial calendar on February 27, 2024. So right now it's just a not present. Hopefully she'll pop up. All right, position 7, George Hill. George Hill is not present. Keon Horton, position 8, not present. Andre Johnson, not present. Brandon Mack, not present. Position 11, Skyisha Monet McClure, not present. Position 12, Larry Mickle, that's a
Yes.
PD case as well.
It
Any
is, Judge.
contact?
No contact, Judge.
All right, that's not present. Derikia Minor, not present. Waikithia Moore, not present. Raven Rogers, not present. Position 17, Santos Vega is present and to speak with PD. Aline Scarborough,
A no cross was just issued.
all right. Position 18 is null pros. Jerry Kaladi Turkia. Jerry, Jari, Kaladi Turkia, Turkia, not present. Stephanie Vasquez Castillo. Stephanie Vasquez Castillo, not present. Shamar Walker, not present. Shakita Williams, not present. All right, at the conclusion of this calendar, we'll do another calendar call and then we'll determine whether bench warrants to issue. All right, we'll be in recess until then. Thank you. Going back to position one, Ms. Booker's case is going to be considered for pretrial diversion. And her case is reset to August 2nd at 9 a.m. for compliance. Of course, if she completes all the conditions prior to August 2nd, then the case will be, I guess, dismissed by the state. So hopefully you complete all the conditions and that will be a favorable outcome. Anything else, Ms. Stokes?
No, Your Honor, thank you very much for the court's time.
All right, thank you. You're free to go.
Do we have an announcement number 2?
I'm doing it right now. With regards to position number 2 on our calendar, State versus Derek Davis, the prosecution is going to dismiss the case. You're free to go.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Ms. Kathir.
Make sure. Sorry, Miss Barbara, we have another late show. Position number 14, State versus Waikeithia Moore. Ms. Moore, as I was saying, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, public defense counsel can be appointed to represent you, or you can choose to hire your own attorney. What would you like to do? All right, Mr. Haddad or Miss Helen will speak with you and see if you qualify. And then after that, we will proceed to find out the status of your case. Please remain seated.
Thank you, Judge.
Let me get on the Zoom.
15.
All right, Ms. Barbara, we are going to position 15. And that's Flores Nelson. Yes, Ms. Githier.
That is gonna be diversion, Your Honor. We just get a reset date, for compliance.
All right. Mr. Juarez Nelson? Anytime he wants to pop on Zoom? Juarez Nelson? You need to unmute and show us your face on the screen. Do you have his number again?
I do.
You wanna buzz him?
I will.
Maybe he. Hmm. Mr. Juarez Nelson. Good heavens, all I see is hair waving in front of him.
Oh, there he is. He's.
All right,
I'm-
are you lying down?
No, ma'am. My
right.
phone is actually just low.
Can you just push your hair all back and lower your device so we can see your face? Perfect.
Yes.
Lower the device so we don't have to look at your ceiling. Some more.
Can't hear.
Lower it some more.
I can't really hear. It's a little low.
All
Okay,
right.
there it go.
All right, your case is going to be sent to pretrial diversion. Your next court date is going to be August 2nd at 9 a.m. in courtroom G33.
Okay, August 2nd. G33 at 9:30 a.m.
9 a.m.
Okay, 9 a.m.
All right, you will need to come back to court and make sure that you show us that you're complying with the conditions of pretrial diversion. If you've completed them, then your case can be dismissed. If you have not completed them, then you're in trouble. And if you are still in the middle of completing the conditions, then we'll give you another reset date. But you need
Okay.
to come back to court on August 2nd at 9 a.m. G33.
Okay. Okay.
All right, that's all I have to say. Your attorney is Miss Catrice Helen, and you're free to go. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Glanville, is there anyone else in the waiting room?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right. Ms. Barber, we're going on to position 14, Waikithia Moore. All right, Ms. Moore, your case is going to be considered for pretrial diversion. So that means your next court date is going to be August 2nd at 9 a.m. All right, remember that time, 9 a.m. in this courtroom. All right, and we're going to find out whether you've completed your conditions or in the middle of it, okay? All right, your attorney is
That'll be
Mr. Haddad.
And if I can ask her to remain here to make sure we fill out all the paperwork before she leaves.
All right, Ms. Moore, make sure before you leave, you need to speak with Mr. Haddad and only he will be able to release you. Thank you. Ms. Githier, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll be in recess until we find out what's going on. Thank you.
17.
All right, we are going to position 17, State versus Eduardo Santos Vega. Yes, Ms.
Judge.
Ellen?
He's filled out an application for our services, but he doesn't qualify. But however, he'd like to speak with the solicitor in this case to see if he could still get it resolved today.
Okay, all right, thank you. Mr. Santos, if you choose to speak with the prosecutor, please understand that whatever statements you make, it can and will be used against you in the treatment or prosecution of your case. So, I guess you'll be speaking with Ms. Githia and then let me know how you want to resolve the case. Thank you. And Mr. Haddad and Ms. Helen, otherwise, after the calendar call, you're free to go, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
Position
Okay.
17 is gonna be up to
Latoya Jackson.
All right, we are going to address position 17, Eduardo Santos Vega. And that's going to be a plea hearing. Have you,
I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
Just-
Prosecutor Githia is drafting the documents, and then as soon as we get those ready, we'll have a plea hearing. All right, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and call the calendar while we are waiting for, can Ms. Waldrop or Mr. Birch go over the calendar while Ms. Githia gets plea documents done? Okay. All right, position number 1, Booker is diversion, reset to August 2nd. Position 2, Derek Davis is a null pros. Position 3, Alicia Frazier. And she is not present.
Your Honor, all of these cases are in bench warrant status. Her bench warrant was issued for Ms. Frazier on March 10th, 2023.
Right, but these cases were the bench warrants were forgiven pursuant to the solicitor's warrant clinic.
Oh, what, were they? Oh,
And so that's the reason why we're trying to have a new arraignment on these cases, because our office has forgiven the bench warrant, but there was an expectation that these events would show up for the hearing today. And given the fact that she's not here, the state would move for a bench warrant.
Okay, so there's still a bench warrant out there, March 10th, 2023. See, the order has to indicate that we are vacating the March 10th, 2023 and issuing a new one for this court date. Is that correct? Okay.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I was actually at the amnesty that day, Saturday. I don't believe all these folks showed up. I recognize some of the names. Those are the ones that showed up and were
So
bench
first of
warrants
all,
outside.
interestingly, on the calendar is called a warrant clinic and you call it an amnesty clinic. I have no idea what that program is supposed to be called.
I
So,
don't either, Judge.
All right, and this is the first time I'm hearing about what transpired at this warrant clinic. And so, Mr. Birch, can you tell me the state's position on that particular proceeding?
Yes, Your Honor, we made an effort to forgive bench warrants for people who were willing to come to, I believe it was at a church on
It
a
was.
Saturday morning, back in April. Yes, and so people showed up, who had outstanding bench warrants, and the bench warrants were forgiven. An offer was conveyed. Some of the people chose to take the offer right then and there, plea. And some people chose not to take that offer. The people who did not take the plea offer that was given to them at that warrant clinic are put on this calendar today for purposes of arraignment to reset this case back to the very beginning as if it had just been accused. And this courtroom is going to handle these cases in their entirety. But just like any other arraignment calendar at any other courtroom, if a defendant does not show, the state will move for a bench warrant.
At the time that the individuals who did not accept the state's offer, was there intake where we got their correct names, contact information, addresses, and so forth?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I would assume the answer is yes.
All right, Ms. Waldrop, did you have anything to
I was
add?
gonna say that I think the clerk's office may be able to speak to that as to whether or not notices, are you getting at whether or not they received notice of this court date? I think the clerk's office would have to speak to that.
All right, Ms. James, yes.
Randy Bolton was the litigation manager that attended the warrant clinic. According to Ms. Bolton, the people on this calendar were many of the people that did not show.
Yeah.
Calendar. It was my understanding. Judge Williams also presided over that. So all of the individuals on this calendar were served notice based on the information that we had in Odyssey.
Okay, I just realized one thing, excuse me. Ms. Barber, were you able to hear Ms. Patrona James?
I think.
Sherry?
No, mute.
Yeah. Were you able to hear our litigation? You did?
Yes,
Okay, good.
yes, Your
Just want to
Honor.
just want to be sure. So all those individuals were given notices to show up for the warrant clinic?
Well, the individuals were given notice to show, well, the warrant clinic was supposed to be a walk-in situation when it was first brought to me. And then it was, we're gonna invite people, and then it was, we're gonna walk in. No, it was inviting people, then walking in. And when Brandy came back that day, the individuals that needed to be on this arraignment calendar. They were served notice, they were sent emails, the attorneys, whatever attorney of record was there, they were served notice based on what was in Odyssey. And then we got to this arraignment calendar.
Do you have a list of folks who did appear at the Warren Clinic?
I do not. I was not provided with that information and neither was Ms. Bolton. Now, I guess Ms. Bickerson may have that, but I don't know who
Showed up.
right. But I did, Ms. Bolton did tell me that there were not a lot of people that showed up. That's
Okay.
what she told me.
Mr. Birch, Ms. Waldrop, Ms. Githier, any of you at the clinic, do y'all have a list? Okay, all right. So with regards to Alicia Frazier, on her case history, it looks like she didn't show up in court on March 10th. Prior to that, she didn't show up on January 12th, 2021. So there's a history of her failing to appear. The bench warrant, were y'all requesting a bench warrant?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so the bench warrant is going to issue and that's going to be a $500 surety. And we're going to vacate the bench warrant of March 10th. So who would like to do that from the table of prosecutors?
You're asking for an order
Yes.
for signature?
Mhm.
Okay, I can do that.
All right, so for position 3, we're going to vacate the March 10th, 2023 bench warrant and issue a new one. And the new one will be issued by the clerk's office. Okay, moving on to position number 4, Melissa Gambino. These are what we call normally are doggy court charges, dog at large and cruelty to animals. She's not here. A bench warrant was issued against her on December 15th, 2022. And how would you like to proceed?
State would ask, Your Honor, for a bench warrant.
Right? Miss Helen, oh, this is the PD case.
Yes,
Any
Judge,
comment?
that's Mr. Gaither's case when he was with our office, but I don't believe either me or Mr. Haddad has had any contact with Miss Melissa.
All right. This is a bench warrant, and we're going to vacate the bench warrant from December 15th, 2022, and issue a new bench warrant. It's going to be a $500 surety, $250 on each count. All right, position 5 is further notice for trial. Position 6, Ikira Hicks.
That's also a public defender's case, Judge. I or Mr. Haddad have not had contact with Miss Hicks.
All I see is a failure to appear. I don't see a specific entry of a bench warrant. How's the state like to move forward?
They will request a bench warrant, Judge.
All right, this is a bench warrant for Ikira Hicks. It's a $500 surety. Position 7, George Hill is not present. Mr. Glanville, I'm sorry to bother you with this, but anyone in the waiting room on the Zoom session?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. For Mr. Hill, a bench warrant was issued on February 10th, 2023. Looks like he's had a prior failure to appear as well from August 3rd, 2022. So the state's requesting a bench warrant. Right. The bench warrants to issue is going to be a $1,250 surety, $250 surety on each count. It's got 5 counts. And again, we're going to vacate the February 10th, 2023 bench warrant.
Your Honor, I just called Ms. Bolton, and she indicated that nobody from this calendar appeared on April 13th.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, with the exception of Ms. Henson, who actually I met
Oh, okay.
but everybody else, Judge, the name. I mean, I spoke to the folks that strolled in, and they're mostly, but yes, I think most of these folks were just had.
Disposed there, but she said the one from this particular
Right.
calendar. I didn't know about the census. She said the one.
She's
from
the
this calendar.
exception.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so let's move on. Position 8, Keon Horton. Keon Horton is position 8, and we have a bench warrant that was issued on June 13th, 2023. Looks like he waived arraignment.
I think so.
There was a status conference. He failed to appear, and that's not a PD case. How's the state proceeding?
The state would move for a bench warrant, Your
All
Honor.
right, please vacate the bench warrant of June 13th, and this will be a new bench warrant for $500 surety. Position 9, Andre Johnson.
State request the bench warrant, Your Honor.
Okay. Going to vacate the bench warrant issued on July 13th of 2023 and issue a new bench warrant, and this is going to be a $250 surety bond. Well, I'm going to make this a for position 9, it's going to be a 250 signature bond through the jail. Might have to do a roundabout for that one. Okay, position 10, Brandon Mack. Brandon Mack has not appeared, and my goodness. Mr. Mack had a bench warrant issued on April 6th, 2023. State's moving for a warrant,
Yes,
Yes.
Judge.
all right? Looks like this was his, he had a prior failure to appear. He was arrested, he made bond, and this is now another one. So we're going to vacate the April 6th and issue a new bench warrant. This is going to be a $500 surety, 250 on each count. Position 11, Skyisha McClure. Skyisha McClure.
They would request a bench warrant.
Right, on Skyisha McClure, this is going to vacate the bench warrant from December 14th, 23. Issue a new bench warrant. It's going to be a $500 surety, 250 on each count. Position 12, Larry Mickle. Larry Mickle? Did I miss one? No?
No, Judge, I was just gonna say we will request a bench warrant.
Okay. Going to vacate the bench warrant from January 4th, 2024. And issue a new bench warrant. This is going to be a $250 signature bond through the jail. Position 13, Derikia Minor.
State would move for a bench warrant, Your Honor.
Vacate the bench warrant from December 14th, 2023. This is going to be a new bench warrant for $500 surety. Position 14, Waiketia Moore is reset for pretrial diversion to August 2nd at 9 a.m. Position 15, Juarez Nelson is reset for diversion August 2nd at 9 a.m. Position 16, Raven Rogers has not appeared.
State would move for a bench warrant.
We'll vacate the bench warrant issued on March 2nd of 2023. She's appeared at prior calendars, but not this one. Gonna issue a new bench warrant, and that's gonna be a $250 surety. Position 17, Mr. Santos Vega is gonna be a plea. Position 18, Scarborough is null pros. Position 19, Jari Turkia has not appeared.
State would move for a bench warrant.
A bench warrant issued on July 5th, 2023 is vacated. And this is a new bench warrant for $250 surety. Position 20, Stephanie Vasquez Castillo.
State would move for a bench warrant.
All right, we vacate the bench warrant from February 2nd, 2023. And issue a new bench warrant. That's going to be a $250 surety. Shamar Walker, position 21. Has not appeared.
State would move for a bench warrant.
Vacate the bench warrant from March 31st, 2023. New bench warrant will issue. It's going to be 250 on count 1, 250 on count 2, and 100 on count 3, so a total of $600 surety. Position 22, Shakita Williams has not appeared.
State would move for a bench warrant.
All right, going to vacate the bench warrant from January 12th, 2023. And issue a new bench warrant for $500 surety. All right, just let us know when Mr. Baker is ready for his plea. All right, we are addressing State versus Eduardo Santos Vega. Position 17 on the arraignment calendar of today, May 17th, 2024. Mr. Vega is present in the courtroom. Mr. Vega, you've already been advised of your right to remain silent and you have waived your right to counsel. I have your documentation over here. Have you read through the waiver of counsel?
Yes,
And you understand that you are responsible for any legal decision you make
yes,
and how that may impact upon any open cases, your job, your residency, and so forth?
understand.
Are you willing to waive your right to counsel?
I am.
All right. This is case 20 CR 978C, in which Mr. Vega was accused of criminal trespass and public drunkenness. Mr. Vega, may I place you under oath for purposes of a plea? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I swear.
Thank you. Ms. Githia, what is the recommendation from the state?
Your Honor, for the criminal trespass, it is 12 months probation to do an alcohol and drug evaluation and any required treatment, to do 20 hours of community service. The stay away should actually be scratched out, Your Honor, my apologies. And he's to have no contact with the victim, Joel Runner. The stay away is not going to be part of the conditions. Joel Runner, Runner.
Was that Joe or Joel?
Joel, Joel.
Okay, no contact with Joel, Joel, Runner, Runner, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
And for the public drunkenness, it is 12 months probation, which will be concurrent to the criminal trespass. And as he is pro se, would you like me to read the factual basis? Your Honor?
yes.
The state expects the evidence to show that if this matter went to trial, that on October 6, 2019, at approximately 10:45 p.m., officers responded to Roswell Creek Apartments for suspicious activity. Mr. Santos Vega, Eduardo Santos Vega was in an intoxicated state inside of Joel Runner's vehicle. Joel Runner, without Joel Runner's permission, Joel Runner did not know Mr. Vega, nor did he give him permission to be in his vehicle. Additionally, Mr. Santos Vega appeared in an intoxicated condition. There was vomit near the ground, near the vehicle. He was disheveled and his belt buckle was unbuckled. He had a strong odor of alcoholic beverage coming from his breath and his body. And when officers asked several times if he knew who owned the vehicle, he repeatedly replied, Roswell Creek. And that concludes what I have, Your Honor.
All right.
I'm sorry, one more, I'm sorry. They responded to Roswell Creek Apartments located at 1000 Holcomb Bridge Road, located in Fulton County.
Right. Mr. Vega, you just heard the factual basis that the state has indicated to support their plea recommendation. Do you agree with the factual basis as indicated by the prosecutor?
Yes,
Do you agree that this particular offenses occurred in Fulton County, Georgia?
yes,
And do you agree that the person charged with these offenses, that is you, is
Yes.
true and correct?
correct.
Okay. Have you consumed any medicine or alcohol?
No,
And have you understood everything that's going on in your case so far?
so far, yes.
And are you entering this plea today to these two charges freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes,
You've read through the documents that you were required to fill out before we conducted this hearing?
correct.
And do you agree to waive your right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury? Do you agree to waive your right to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence that would have been brought against you in a trial, present any defenses and arguments you may have, and have the state carry the burden to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Do you agree to waive these rights?
I do.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Guilty, I suppose. Guilty,
I'm sorry?
guilty,
And how do you plead to one count of public drunkenness?
guilty,
To the criminal trespass, your sentence is going to be 12 months probation I don't think he spent any time in jail for this matter.
Never.
Hmm?
I did not.
Okay, so it'll be 12 months probation. You will report to the probation office on Monday before 3 p.m. Yes, sir.
I thought I avoided probation.
According to the police report, he was transported to Alpharetta Jail.
Yes,
So you were arrested.
yes.
Okay, so it's 12 months to serve. How many days were you in jail?
Overnight.
Okay, so it's 12 months to serve 1 day, credit for time served 1 day. And then the balance is probated. And so you will be on probation because you need to complete some of the conditions over here.
I thought I avoided probation.
So I didn't hear you.
I thought I avoided probation. I thought
No, we
the,
said 12 months probation. I said count 2, the public drunkenness will be concurrent.
yeah,
So just be a total of 12 months probation.
okay. I thought the only thing I only had to stay away from Joe Runner.
Do you want to read the recommendation again? Yeah.
May I?
You need, I'm going to put a star right next to it.
I was really hoping to avoid probation. I thought I agreed.
No, it was, no, it did, for the public drunkenness, I wasn't adding on an additional 12 months.
Please hold, Ms. Vargas. Where the star is, please read that.
Yes. Yeah, no, I understand that's what the state wants. I thought I was avoiding it by just saying no contact with Joe Runner. If it'll avoid any trouble, I will accept this probation then.
Well, did you read the part about the alcohol and drug evaluation?
Yes,
And what did you think that was?
don't do it again.
You need to speak up, sir.
I thought it just meant don't do it again. Never have, so.
Well, I can't take your plea unless you understand the terms of the sentence. So I'm going to read it to you. No, you don't get to shake your shoulders, and I want to be absolutely sure
Yeah.
that I'm convinced that you understand what you're pleading to.
Yes,
All right, listen very carefully. You have 2 charges. For the criminal trespass, the state has offered you 12 months to serve 1 day. You served 1 day at the Alpharetta jail, so your jail time is over.
okay,
The rest of the time, the rest of the 12 months is on probation. They are asking you to submit to an alcohol and drug evaluation. You would have to go to a medical provider or a psychiatrist or someone who conducts these kinds of substance abuse evaluation. And if the evaluator says that you have an alcohol problem and or a drug problem, you would need to submit to the treatment that's required by the evaluator.
okay,
And this has to be done at your expense.
okay,
All right. Now, if the evaluation says that you are perfectly fine, then you're done with the evaluation. There's nothing else to do.
very well, understood.
The next thing they're asking for is 20 hours of voluntary community service.
Okay,
Did you read that part?
yes, I did.
Have you done that?
Not yet, no.
All right. So that means you have to go and work for a nonprofit agency
Okay,
like Salvation Army, Goodwill, Food Bank, Animal Rescue, Veterans Affairs. Go work in those nonprofit agencies.
okay, no problem.
But it cannot be a church and it cannot be a school.
All right,
And you have to do a minimum of 20 hours.
understood.
And then the nonprofit agency has to give you a letter signed by the supervisor saying that you've completed a minimum of 20 hours.
Understand.
And then you need to give that letter to your probation officer. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You're also to have no contact with Joel Runner.
Understood.
Stay 200 yards away from him and have no communication at all with him.
Understood.
Now, listen very carefully. If you complete the alcohol and drug evaluation and there's no treatment required, and if you complete the 20 hours of community service, your probation will be non-reporting, which means that you don't have to go back to probation as long as you stay out of trouble and not get arrested again.
Okay, Understand
This
that.
will go on for the rest of the 12 months. But you need to complete the evaluation and you need to complete the community service before your probation goes non-reporting.
Okay,
And then the same will apply for the public drunkenness. Your probation will be non-reporting as long as all your conditions are completed. Now, what is your question?
I understood it clearly. My question was, I never met Mr. Joe Runner, so how do I know I won't accidentally bump into him?
Well, if he recognizes you and he starts yelling at you, you turn around and walk away.
Understood.
Anything else, Ms. Githia?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so you've already pled guilty to criminal trespass and public drunkenness.
Yes,
Do you understand the terms of
I
probation?
understand him clearly.
Okay, now I'm gonna revise your report date. Please report to probation on Thursday. They're closed on Wednesdays.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Please report to probation next week on Thursday.
Okay.
And that's gonna be at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. And
Okay,
you must report to the office before 3 p.m.
very
All
well.
right? And you need, as I've already told you, what you're required to do. And as I've already said, on the public drunkenness is 12 months probation concurrent. That means at the same time.
Yes, ma'am.
Any
Understand.
questions?
No questions.
All right. Please remain in the courtroom. You need to fill out a probation form.
All right,
And we can give you a copy of that. It's got the address and the information that you'll need for probation.
very well.
All right, you may have a seat at the bench. Thank you. Anything else, Ms. Githia?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right. For those of you on Zoom, one last call, Mr. Glanville, is your waiting room suddenly appearing with a lot of latecomers or?
No, Your Honor, there's nobody in the waiting room.
All right, then this session is concluded. Thank you very